Dr. Laskey, I want to follow up on that from the DevOps perspective, because I think I heard you say something earlier, I'm not quite sure, but we've got waterfall, we've got agile, we've got deployment methodologies, and we're trying to do things better, faster, fewer. If you're looking at this right now, and you are coming at it from a traditional development model, what's missing in your mind? Are there aspects of moving to DevOps that you think need to be improved or that they're assumed? I think Jimmy talked about the design part of it. I don't see design on. What are the components that people maybe assume in the DevOps process but aren't strictly defined?
So what I'm looking at is, the whole gestalt is to automate more. To take things, have people do things that people really need to do. And if the computer can do it better, have the computer do it. So we're looking for what we can automate. And if you look through here, there's continuous delivery and continuous exploration and continuous integration, and there's a lot of automation that's part of that. I don't see continuous requirements. I don't see continuous documentation. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. How do we automate doing these? And what do we mean by requirements? I can have a set of user stories, and I can point at user stories there and how I've got dev teams that's doing all that stuff.
Would you consider your backlog and Kanban sort of that?
Your requirements? That's what I.
No, so that's requirements, but what am I really interested in? I'm interested in my, and I'm playing with this idea, so
yeah, no,
if some of it's flaky, that's fine. But the idea being that what I'm interested in is what have I tested? Hopefully the test is going to do a good job on the user stories and the what's in the backlog. But my main interest is what's been tested, what's been proved to work. That's what I want to say, this is the capability I have of the software that I've developed. And then continuous monitoring should then feed into documentation. Documentation shouldn't just be a snapshot of what the world looks like. Documentation has to grow, has to evolve. It's great that you've got a system that has 5 nines, as far as what it's asked for. What does it actually do? Because I want my documentation to tell me what the real software is and what it's capable of doing and how it changes over time.
I mean, when I look at this, if I tie it into my own product that I developed, I think our documentation people are involved in daily scrums and in story times, right? So you make them a part of the process, right? So the documentation can be iteratively worked on, because if we're going to release features more quickly, right, into a marketplace or outside of a normal, kind of rock star release, big, huge releases, 2 times a year, we have to do stuff. There are some things in the documentation world, typically around services or RESTful services, things like Swagger, that do allow you to produce automated references and documentation. We take advantage of some of that. A lot of that's the enablement. Like when I look through here, I see a lot of glue, right? I see lots of different tools, but I see one of the core principles of DevOps is to treat infrastructure as code. And you see, you kind of mentioned you had a team of developers, and none of those workflows really would have been available today because all of these product managers, all these individual tools, they're probably all exposing RESTful API endpoints because they know there's use cases and workflows they can't even dream of, right, that customers will require. And by publishing that, you can have a supportable way of creating these kind of custom workflows. So to me, it's, documentation has to be along for the ride, right? And story time has to be iterative. That's why it's really key for me as a product owner that I have at a minimum a nightly build that I can look at the next day, so that if something is not being built according to the specifications we wrote in the story, I can see it very quickly. We don't go weeks and weeks and weeks with this mistake that I then later discover, oh, this is a fundamental flaw. I mean, there's subtleties and features have really big ramifications in whether or not you're pulling off the mission, right? Which is obviously different for everyone.
Yeah. No, and I was just going to say that I think that sort of that iterative look back means that, the scope, that, you have the user story that comes in, the build that comes out, the delta that you're looking for, and of course where you can automate it, you do. And so I think that, that rather than doing a look back on a quarterly or even once a year basis, right? Like we release something, we only do a root cause analysis in waterfall if it fails. Otherwise, we assume we did everything great, right? And so I think in a more iterative, you accept that there are going to be failures between day to day. And so your root cause analysis is a much smaller sort of attack surface, but it's done much more frequently.
Sure.
And that feedback loop informs very, very quickly sort of your next iteration, your next build. Right?
Yep.
Fail fast.
By
Fail
the way, I
fast,
call
fail
my
often.
root cause analysis
cheap.
is my SWAT team, by the way.
Right.
They help me figure out exactly what's going on, which lines of code failed, where my problems are, where the slowdowns are. I use root cause analysis as my SWAT team to go in and help me figure out exactly what went wrong so we can go back to the development teams and help them fix those things relatively quickly. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why it's so important that none of these steps are skipped or shortcutted, right, in terms of automating or our DevOps process. I mean, every feature comes with bugs.
Mhm.
Every new feature that I write a user story for is going to come with bugs, but we need to be able to iterate and fix those very quickly, right, so that we can win.
Okay.